Writing. Imagine pulling up to a city street and seeing a small electric hatchback that looks like it came straight from the future, yet somehow feels familiar. That is the magic of the Renault 5 E-Tech. With its retro-inspired design, compact proportions, and fully electric powertrain, this little Renault is aiming to bring personality back to everyday electric driving. But the big question for American drivers is simple: could the Renault 5 E-Tech actually make sense for the United States? Parked beside the road, the Renault 5 E-Tech immediately grabs attention. Its design takes inspiration from the classic Renault 5, but the modern interpretation is much sharper and more futuristic. Up front, the squared-off body, distinctive LED lighting, and illuminated details give the car a confident appearance. The compact dimensions make it look perfect for crowded city streets, while the wide stance gives it more presence than you might expect from a small hatchback. Move around to the side and the retro-modern theme becomes even clearer. The short overhangs, muscular wheel arches, sculpted doors, and aerodynamic wheels create a sporty silhouette. Renault has managed to keep the car visually simple without making it boring. The design feels playful, but it still has enough technology and sophistication to compete with newer electric vehicles. At the rear, the Renault 5 continues that character with vertical-inspired lighting elements, a compact tailgate, and a clean bumper design. It does not look like a traditional economy car. Instead, it feels like an electric city car designed for drivers who want something different from the usual collection of anonymous EVs. Inside, the Renault 5 E-Tech continues the modern theme. The cabin combines digital displays with physical controls and a distinctive dashboard layout. Depending on the version, drivers can expect a digital instrument display, a central touchscreen, smartphone connectivity, and modern driver assistance technology. The interior is compact, but Renault has focused on making the space feel stylish and practical rather than simply inexpensive. Now let's talk about what really matters for an electric car: performance. The Renault 5 E-Tech is available with different electric motor configurations, with output depending on the version. Higher output models can deliver around 150 horsepower, while other versions provide lower power for buyers who prioritize efficiency and affordability. Because electric motors deliver torque almost instantly, the Renault 5 can feel surprisingly energetic when leaving a traffic light. This is not designed to be a high-performance sports car, and that is actually part of its appeal. The Renault 5 is intended to be easy, responsive, and enjoyable in everyday driving. In an American city environment, that means quick acceleration from intersections, easy maneuvering through traffic, and a compact footprint that can make parking much less stressful. Battery choices also make the Renault 5 interesting. Higher capacity versions can offer a driving range of roughly 250 miles under European testing standards, although US EPA range could be different if the vehicle eventually comes to America. A smaller battery option is aimed at urban drivers who do most of their driving around town and want a lower purchase price. Charging is another important part of the experience. Depending on the version and charging equipment, the Renault 5 can support relatively quick DC charging, allowing drivers to add a significant amount of range during a short stop. For daily charging, home charging would still be the most convenient solution for American owners. Behind the wheel, the Renault 5's compact size should be one of its biggest advantages. It is the kind of EV that could feel perfectly at home in places such as New York, Los Angeles, Miami, Chicago, or San Francisco. Instead of feeling bulky and difficult to place on narrow streets, the Renault 5 is designed around maneuverability. Ride comfort should also be a major part of its appeal. The suspension is tuned for everyday roads, and the instant response of the electric motor makes the car feel smooth in stop-and-go traffic. It is not about extreme speed. It is about making ordinary journeys more enjoyable. Now we come to the biggest question for American buyers: price and availability. In Europe, the Renault 5 E-Tech has been positioned as a relatively affordable electric car, with pricing depending heavily on battery size, motor output, and trim level. European pricing starts in a range that makes it attractive against larger and more expensive EVs. However, an American price cannot simply be converted directly from European pricing. Import costs, federal requirements, taxes, distribution expenses, and US-specific equipment could significantly change the final number. If Renault eventually brings the Renault 5 E-Tech to the United States, a realistic expectation would be that the final price could land somewhere around the low to mid $30,000 range or potentially higher depending on configuration. That is an estimate rather than an official US MSRP, because availability and American pricing depend on Renault's actual market strategy. The expected US arrival is another major question. Renault has not established the Renault 5 E-Tech as a conventional US market model, so American availability should not be treated as confirmed simply because the vehicle is sold in Europe. If Renault decides to enter the US market with this EV, regulatory approval, production planning, distribution, and dealer support would all need to be addressed first. And that uncertainty may actually make the Renault 5 even more interesting. America has plenty of electric SUVs, crossovers, and large sedans, but affordable small EVs remain a much smaller category. A stylish compact electric hatchback could give urban American drivers a completely different choice. The Renault 5 E-Tech is not trying to win by being the biggest or fastest EV. Its strength is personality. It combines classic Renault inspiration with modern electric technology, compact dimensions, useful range, and a design that stands out immediately. If Renault can bring the right version to the United States at an attractive price, the Renault 5 E-Tech could become one of the most interesting small electric cars for American cities. It offers something many modern EVs have forgotten: character. So, would you choose this compact French EV over a larger electric crossover? The Renault 5 E-Tech proves that an electric car does not need massive dimensions or extreme horsepower to be exciting. Sometimes, the most memorable car is the one that simply looks different, feels different, and makes every short drive a little more fun.